Fazza had never planned to fall in love. Not because he didn't believe in it, no, he believed in it too much. The kind of belief that makes a person suspicious of their own feelings. Love, to him, wasn't just butterflies and poetry, it was chaos disguised as beauty. And Fazza he preferred calm, predictable, safe. That was until the letter happened. It started on a perfectly normal Tuesday, one of those days that feels so ordinary it almost insults your existence. Fazza was sitting in a small cafe, staring at his laptop screen, pretending to work but actually rewriting the same sentence for the 47th time. I should become a farmer, he muttered to himself. Farmers don't rewrite sentences, came a voice. Fazza looked up. And there she was. A girl with eyes that looked like they had seen too many sunsets and still weren't impressed. She was holding a cup of coffee and staring directly at him, like she had just interrupted a documentary about his life. "Excuse me," Fazza said. "You've been typing and deleting for 10 minutes, she said calmly. Either you're writing a love confession, or a resignation email. Fazza blinked. Neither. She shrugged. Disappointing. And just like that, she walked away. Fazza sat there, confused, slightly offended, and strangely curious. He didn't even know her name. The next day, she was there again. Same cafe. Same calm confidence. Same ability to speak like she had known him for years. Still unemployed, she asked. I have a job. Then why do you look like you're negotiating with your keyboard? Fazza closed his laptop. Okay, who are you? She smiled. Someone who thinks you overthink too much. That's not a name. Names are overrated. People usually have them. She leaned closer. Era. And just like that, his ordinary Tuesday turned into something dangerously interesting. Days turned into a strange routine. Fazza didn't know when it happened, but he started timing his visits to the cafe, just to see her. Ara was unpredictable. Some days she talked non-stop. Other days she just sat there, sipping coffee like she was solving life in silence. But one thing never changed. She always noticed things about Fazza. You pretend to be confident, but you hesitate before speaking. You laugh loudly, but only when you're nervous. You don't drink coffee. You just hold it like a prop. Fazza hated how accurate she was. And loved it too. One evening, as rain tapped softly against the cafe windows, Ara did something unexpected. She slid a folded paper across the table. "What's this?" Fazza asked. "A challenge." "I don't accept challenges from people who insult me daily." "It's not an insult. It's an upgrade." Fazza raised an eyebrow. "Open it." He unfolded the paper. Inside, written in messy handwriting, were the words, "Write the funniest love letter ever, without actually saying I love you." Fazza looked up. "You're joking." "No," Ara said, smiling. "You seem like someone who feels too much but says too little. And this helps how? It forces honesty." Fazza leaned back. "And what do I get if I win this challenge?" Ara tilted her head. "You get an answer." "Answer to what?" She stood up. "To the question you haven't asked yet." And just like that, she left. Again. That night, Fazza couldn't sleep. "A love letter funny without saying I love you, this is ridiculous," he muttered. But something about it felt important. Not like a game. More like a test. He started writing. First attempt, "Dear Ara, You are slightly less annoying than most people. He stared at it. Nope. Deleted. Second attempt. Dear Ara, if life were a joke, you'd be the punchline. Too aggressive. Deleted. Third attempt. Dear Ara, you confuse me. And I don't like being confused. He paused. That's kind of true. But it didn't feel complete. Hours passed. Fazza laughed at his own bad ideas. He argued with himself. He even Googled how to write a funny love letter and immediately regretted it. Finally, at 3:17 a.m., something clicked. He stopped trying to be funny and started being real. The next day, he handed her the letter. No dramatic speech. No nervous explanation. Just a folded paper, placed quietly on the table. Ara looked at it, then at him. You actually did it? I didn't sleep. That explains your face. Just read it. She unfolded the letter. And for the first time, Ara went silent. The letter, Dear Ara, I tried to write something funny, but it turns out, you're the joke life played on me when I thought I had everything figured out. You walked into a random Tuesday and suddenly made it feel like a plot twist. You insult me daily, and somehow I look forward to it. You notice things about me I spend years trying to hide. Honestly, it's annoying. But also impressive. If life were a movie, you'd be that unpredictable character who ruins the main character's plans, and somehow makes the story better. I don't know what this is. And I don't like not knowing things. But I do know this. If I had to choose between a quiet, predictable life, and one where you randomly appear and mess everything up, I'd choose the chaos. Not because it's easy, but because it feels real. Also, You still owe me a proper introduction that doesn't involve roasting me. Fazza. Error, read it once. Then again. Then she folded it carefully. Fazza waited. Heart racing. For once, he had no clever response. No defense. Just silence. Well, he asked. Aero looked at him. And for the first time, she didn't have a sarcastic answer. Instead, she smiled, softly. That, she said, was not the funniest love letter ever. Fazza's heart dropped. Oh. She leaned closer. It was better. Fazza blinked. What does that mean? She reached into her bag and pulled out another folded paper. My turn. And just like that, the game wasn't over. It had just begun. Fazza stared at the folded paper in Era's hand like it was a final exam he hadn't studied for. My turn, she had said. Those two words felt heavier than they should. Read it, she added. Fazza hesitated for a second, then took the letter. For someone who joked about everything, his hands were strangely careful unfolding it. Era's letter. Dear Fazza, first of all, your letter was not funny enough. I expected at least one dramatic line about how you can't breathe without me. Disappointing effort. Second, you said I'm chaos. That's not entirely true. Chaos destroys things. I just rearrange them. Mostly your peace of mind. You're right about one thing though. You do overthink everything. Like right now, I'm 100% sure you're reading this twice to make sure you didn't miss a hidden meaning. There isn't. Relax. You called me a plot twist. But Fazza, plot twists don't stay. They appear, change everything, and leave. So here's the real question you never asked. What if I don't stay? What if one day this cafe is just a cafe again? No sarcasm. No random conversations. No me. Would you still choose chaos, knowing it might disappear because I don't want to be someone's temporary story? And you don't deserve something incomplete either. So here's my answer to your unasked question: I'll stay, but only if you stop treating feelings like a puzzle you need to solve. Not everything needs logic, Fazza. Some things just need courage. Also, you still owe me coffee. A real one this time, not the one you pretend to drink. Era. Fazza finished reading. Then read it again. Because, of course, she was right. He was overthinking. He looked up. Ara was watching him, not with her usual playful confidence, but something softer, quieter. "You're thinking too much again," she said. "I'm trying not to." "Bad job so far." Fazza exhaled. "So, this is serious?" Ara nodded. "For once, yes." There it was. No jokes to hide behind. No sarcasm to soften the moment. Just truth. Fazza leaned back, running a hand through his hair. "You know what's funny?" he said. "What?" "I was trying to make you laugh, and somehow ended up exposing my entire personality." Ara smiled slightly. "Congratulations. You're evolving." "I don't like this version of me." "You will." Silence settled between them. But this time, it wasn't awkward. It was real. "So," Ara said gently, "what's your answer?" Fazza looked at her. Not at her coffee. Not at the window. Not at the escape routes his mind usually searched for. Just her. "You asked me what if you don't stay," he said. "Yes." Fazza nodded slowly. "Then I guess." I'd still choose it. Ara's expression didn't change, but her eyes did. Why? Because even if it ends, Fazza said, it would still be the most honest thing I've felt. Ara didn't interrupt, didn't joke, didn't deflect. And honestly, he added, a life without risk sounds more boring than heartbreak. Ara blinked. That's either very brave, or very stupid, probably both. For a moment, she just looked at him, like she was deciding something important. Then, she laughed. Not her usual teasing laugh. A real one. Warm. Unfiltered. Okay, she said, shaking her head. That was actually good. Fazza smirked slightly. Better than funny. Much better. She reached across the table and took his hand. Fazza froze. Not because he didn't want it, but because he didn't expect it. I don't promise perfection, Ara said quietly. Good, Fazza replied. I don't trust perfect. I don't promise I won't annoy you. You already do. I don't promise this will always be easy. Fazza squeezed her hand gently. I don't want easy. Ara smiled. Then I'll stay. And just like that, the chaos became something else. Something steadier. Something real. Months later, the cafe was still the same. Same tables. Same coffee. Same quiet Tuesday energy. But Fazza wasn't the same. He still overthought things. Still rewrote sentences. Still questioned everything. Except one thing. Ara. She still teased him. Still called him out. Still noticed everything. But now, she stayed. One afternoon, Fazza pulled out a folded paper. Ara raised an eyebrow.